So The Godfather is a very interesting game license. It's not your normal vapid action chronicles of Riddick idiocy. What are some of the challenges of working with such dramatic film?
Well, obviously, when you're dealing with the Godfather property, there's a huge responsibility. I think we carry a certain reverence for the film, but we're not in awe of it. We can't be. We need to try and make a game that is good as a game as the film was as a film. Clearly the expectations are so high, but we're really trying to innovate within the category. I know this is not a project that EA typically takes on with regards to an open world, living world type of game. So it's our first foray in there. Obviously, we don't tread lightly. We go right for the big kahuna, one of the most famous properties of all time. But, there's a team of over 100 people that are back at Redwood Shores, and every day they try and come in and do something that's excellent.
The movies have some of the most memorable scenes in film. Is there any pressure trying to recreate similarly memorable scenes in the movie?
Well, we certainly want to create memorable moments in the game, but I think what we're doing is you get to create yourself as a character in this game. So you become an Italian-American, 1945, in this living world. You are invited by the Corleone family to join them, to join their ranks. You go out into this open gameplay space, this living world, and you build your respect within this world. As you build respect within this world and your monetary, and your money, and you build up the territory that the family controls, you're able to move up through the family ranks all the way until you become either the godfather of your own family or the godfather of the Corleone family, or if you play the game the way extreme gamers are going to play, you become the godfather of all the families of New York.
One of the things you just touched on was character creation, and from what I understand, this borrows from some other EA tech.
Well, for those that know a little bit about me, I worked on the Tiger Woods games from 2002 all the way through 2005, and our creative director on the project, Mike Olson, did as well. So you could probably expect to see some of that mob-face technology coming into the Godfather game.
But the character creation isn't the full-on Tiger Woods thing. I can't say, oh, I'm going to make like the Corleone's adopted Chinese triad grandson or something like that.
We thought about that, but being authentic and being true to the authenticity of what was represented in our world in 1945, that just wouldn't have happened in the Godfather family. So we're attempting to be true to that story. Anyone is going to have the opportunity to create themselves as an Italian-American male person in 1945. So you will be able to put your facial features on an Italian-looking character, so everybody gets a chance to be Italian.
Just be one of those darker sunbathing Italians.
Columbus Day, you're going to be farther from the south. It's all right. Columbus Day, everybody wants to be an Italian, so here we're going to give everybody that chance.
So with this game, every day is Columbus Day.
Every day is Columbus Day. I think some of the other areas that people will see us innovate in is, obviously we did a lot of innovation around the controller in the Tiger Woods game. We expect to do the same kind of innovation, and we feel that there's opportunity for innovation specifically around how you puppeteer and control the character. Obviously, the symbolic for the Godfather is the puppeteering hand. We want you to get a feeling through the controller that you're controlling all the movements of your character, that you're controlling every day-to-day and minute-to-minute decision-making in the game, and you're also using that controller to influence the other characters and control the other characters that are in our, Godfather playground.
From what I can remember, this is the first time EA has done an open-ended sandbox persistent world. What are some of the challenges in competing with some of the games that are doing those same things?
Well, they have experience in this particular area. So, they've done games of this genre before. It's always hard to break into a new genre. There are challenges that are very hard to anticipate. But I think we've taken a very thoughtful approach to this. One of the first things that we did is we formed a very small team, and we worked in the pre-production process for over 12 months. We started thinking about what we wanted to have the reaction to this game be when we finished the property. When you start working on the game thinking about your outcomes and then draw the outcomes back to the core creative center of the product, it allows you to get tremendous clarity. Tremendous clarity on the core creative center of your product allows you to move forward forcefully and very specifically. And anytime you need to do any trimming, you're able to cut out more of the fat than you are any muscle.
So from what I've read in the fact sheets, The Godfather, the game, combines multiple styles of gameplay. There's action, there's some driving, and there's character manipulation. How does it all tie together?
Well, yeah, so I'd say about 80 to 90% of the game takes place on foot. We're trying to create a living world a world where I'd rather walk. Vehicles are certainly used, but they're used for transportation, they're used for storing dead bodies, they're used for storing some of your weaponry, and you could place those strategically around the world. So the focus is more on foot rather than in vehicle. You will play some missions will be presented to you that are unmistakably right out of the Godfather film. You won't be playing those missions to change the course of history. You'll be playing around those missions. So you'll see memorable moments. You can't stop Sonny from getting killed, but there's a pre-story and there's a post-story that wasn't necessarily told in the film, and you'll have the opportunity to play in that space.
One of the most exciting things about the game is that you're able to get a lot of the actors that were involved in the movies in the game. How is that?
Fantastic. I mean, it was just so exciting. It's so exciting to work with the likes of Marlon Brando, James Caan, Robert Duvall, and we've also got 20 other actors, 20 or more actors that were in the original film that are going to be participating in this as well. So we're incredibly excited about working with those gentlemen. Very specifically, you know, our sessions with Caan and Duvall were fantastic. They're wonderful guys to work with. And then, of course, the session that we had with Marlon Brando, an entire afternoon at his house, you know, about 4 or 5 months before he passed away, was just incredibly insightful. It was amazing that someone who was at a more advanced age could so quickly assimilate what we were trying to do in the interactive medium and start to project. So, you know, kind of saying things like, well, if I wasn't able to physically get out there and you know, be on the set for 12 or 14 hours, I could lend my voice to this, you know, to an interactive character, and then have that character act out the way I would have acted, you know, if I was able to be on set. And he could clearly get that vision. You know, these guys have just been incredibly classy. And I mean, one little story about James Caan. So in the film, and you're going to see it in a couple of minutes, he quotes a couple of lines from the film, obviously. And there's one very unmistakable line that we demonstrate. And in the film, he does very specific things with his hands, you know, with some hand motions. And 35 years later, without any visual prompting, when he read the line, his hands are doing almost the exact same thing 25 years later, sitting in the audio recording chair as they did 35 years earlier when he was on set. I mean, it's just kind of amazing the kind of impact that it had on these gentlemen.
So even though The Godfather, the game, is competing with games that have been doing the open-ended world, what makes this different than all the others?
Well, I think we're going to set a new standard with regards to the visual quality of the game. I think that we're going to spend a significant amount of time trying to innovate in the area of controlling the character, what the game feels like on a moment-to-moment basis with that controller in your hand. And I think the final dimension is living world. So you've probably sat across from so many executive producers who said, I'm going to create a living world, you know, I'm going to create human life as it exists today. I'm not going to be so bold as to say we're going to be creating that. But what I will say is we're going to take significant strides down that path. We're going to give you a world that has consequences where the minute-to-minute decision-making is critical to gameplay, and we're going to give you a world with a memory. No longer are you going to be able to beat somebody up, walk 2 feet in the other direction, and they have no recollection that you just beat them up. It's not going to be that way in the Godfather world. We're going to create this sandbox built around that Godfather story, and then we're going to let you cut your own path through the world. I can't wait to have it done and be as good as I think it could possibly be. So it's very excited to be here and excited that you guys at GameSpy are tracking us so effectively, and we just can't wait to deliver something for all the fans out there.